Good morning.
Good morning.
I decided to wear a suit and tie today for this talk. In fact, it's a piano keyboard tie. So I guess that's pretty typical for me. I decided to wear it for business casual, but that's a little bit difficult because it depends on where you live. On the East Coast, if you say business casual, it means you don't necessarily have to wear your vest with a three-piece suit. But on the West Coast, it means make sure that your Birkenstocks are compatible with your tank top and shorts. So, I don't wear this very often. Don't expect it next Sunday. I used to wear it quite a bit. But I also remember what my wife reminds me of. You can dress the kid up, but you can't take him anywhere. So the title of my presentation today is Pay It Forward, Lessons Learned from Volunteer Work in India. And I really appreciate the nice introduction you gave me, Nancy. That was much better than the one that my mentor had. When he was asked how he should be introduced, he said, "Tell him I have a big nose." Obviously that would not work for me because I have trouble keeping my glasses on. They keep sliding down and all of that. So you'll just have to put up with that. But I would like to present today some things I've learned doing volunteer work that might be of value to and use to you when you have the opportunity to perform similar activities, whether it's on an international, national, or a local basis. The main part of my presentation will be directed towards the volunteer activities I have performed and will continue to do so in India. But the lessons I have learned are probably appropriate for nearly all forms of volunteer work. How many of you have ever been to India? Okay, not very many. So I guess I have a little wiggle room today for this talk. When I was in the Department of Ophthalmology at the University of Iowa, one of our senior faculty members was from India, and he gave me two valuable pieces of advice. One, don't eat street food. And two, don't drive. After having been there twice, with a third trip on the horizon, I can clearly say that this was particularly good advice that kept me healthy and injury-free. On the first trip, my wife Debbie went with me, and we spent most of our time in northern India. And I noticed today she's wearing a shawl or wrap and everything that's from India. So I'm sorry, it's not a sorry. Okay, it's not just totally jokes that I do. The second time I went solo and was in the southern portion of India, mainly in the city of Madurai. Before going into my volunteer work in India, let me give you a little bit of background information on India, Madurai, and the Aravind Eye Hospital. Recently, India became the most populous country in the world, replacing China. It has a population of approximately 1,380,000,000 inhabitants. It occupies the largest part of southern Asia and is adjacent to China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Madurai is a city in the far southern region of India. It has a population of about 1.5 million people, and it has been in existence for more than 2,500 years. It's called the City of the Temples, and I had the wonderful opportunity of going through one of the temples and was introduced to many of the thousands of gods that they have in India. I can only remember a few, Ganesh, Vishnu, and all of this, but there were many of them that they pointed out to me. It is located in Madurai is the Aravind Eye Hospital, which is the primary source of my volunteer work in India related to eye care and detection of diseases that damage the visual system. With more than 1 billion inhabitants, it's clear that medical care and eye exams are a major challenge for providing access to everyone that needs it. There are more than 12 million people in India who are blind, and the average daily income of the worker is about $2 a day. This was something that Dr. Govindappa Venkataswamy was deeply concerned about. So in 1976, he set out to do something to address this issue. He had no money, no sources available to provide funding, no medical facilities, and no clear plan for a solution to this problem. To make matters more challenging, most of the people who needed eye care did not have any money to pay for these services. He was faced with the task of putting together a hospital for eye care, find doctors who were willing to help without receiving much in return, develop a fully staffed and equipped medical facility, and find a means of providing this for persons at little or no cost. To me, this was the ultimate version of pay it forward. Do something good for someone or some group without expecting anything in return. Today, nearly 50 years later, Aravind Eye Hospital is the largest vision care facility in the world. It is an innovator in new techniques and procedures. It only receives payment for services, medication, surgery, or hospitalization if the patient is able to afford it. And it has a very small complication rate, lower than nearly all comparable facilities. This seems too good to be true, but it illustrates two key lessons that I have learned. One, it is possible to accomplish anything if you focus on the journey along the thoroughfare and avoid the roadblocks. At the University of Iowa, we had ophthalmology residents and fellows in training spend a summer at Aravind Eye Hospital, and they came back overwhelmed. I wish that more individuals could experience this so that they can appreciate and be grateful for our situation in the Western world. Number two, it is best not to think of a situation as a problem, but rather as an opportunity. Aravind Eye Hospital has their own internet system, a system that they developed, vision testing centers throughout all of India, and a telemedicine system that is truly spectacular. A patient can be tested at any of a number of sites hundreds of miles away from Aravind Eye Hospital, and their results are automatically sent to their medical records immediately after they are evaluated. Aravind Eye Hospital sees more than 7,500 people every day. More than 2.5 million patients every year are tested there, and they perform more than 300,000 surgeries. Each eye doctor sees more than 200 patients a day. When you enter Aravind Eye Hospital, there are tremendous amounts of people wandering around in all directions, and somehow all of them receive the care and attention of the staff. It is almost impossible to accept that they are able to do this. If a patient is not able to pay, everything is provided for free. Even surgery in hospital stays. If they can pay a little bit, they are charged the equivalent of about 20 cents per visit. And if they can pay more, they may be requested to pay the equivalent of a few dollars. The President of India once went in for eye care and only had a checkbook. Aravind Eye Hospital only accepts cash, so he ended up getting his eye care for free. Many years ago, they were interested in performing surgery for lens implants or intraocular lenses when a patient wanted cataract surgery. To receive the lens implants from the United States or other Western countries, they would have to pay hundreds of dollars, which they couldn't afford. Instead, they established a place to manufacture their own lens implants which cost them less than $10. And the quality of these lenses is equal to or better than those from other countries. When I asked one of the leaders at Aravind Eye Hospital how they were able to do all of this, he said, "Because we are spiritual." All of the members of Aravind Eye Hospital have very positive attitudes. So how did I become involved with Aravind Eye Hospital? As it turns out, I have a dear friend who is a glaucoma specialist at Wilmer Eye Institute that is part of Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in Baltimore. He's been doing volunteer work related to eye care, treatment, and surgery in India and surrounding countries for more than 40 years. Because of this volunteer work, he received a humanitarian award from the American Academy of Ophthalmology several years ago. Although we knew each other previously, we had an opportunity to discuss issues after a meeting in Vancouver, British Columbia. To be honest, I had gone over to the lounge of a hotel because someone had told me that there was a Fagioli grand piano, the 11-foot concert grand piano there. It has a value of more than $1 million. I had to talk to about 30 people to get permission to play it, but I did, and it didn't break. Afterward, I noticed my friend and several other colleagues at a table. One of them was a glaucoma specialist from Nepal who wanted to develop a vision screening program for individuals living in the high altitudes of the Himalayas. This was before that earthquake that occurred. Many of these individuals had never had a medical examination, much less an eye test. The main goal was to detect glaucoma and diabetic eye disease, which are two of the main problems in Nepal. They asked me what portable devices could be used to find problems with peripheral vision for detecting these eye problems. This is something I've done for many, many years. Without trying to sound too much like an advertisement, I told them, there's an app for that. We used the app to copy some peripheral vision testing programs onto a collection of iPads for evaluating persons in remote locations that may not have electricity in Nepal. We were able to test hundreds of individuals, and we were able to find many cases of glaucoma and diabetic eye disease that could then be sent to the clinic for future evaluation and treatment. How many of you have iPads or a smart tablet? Okay, a lot of you. But do you know what Apple developed before the iPad? It was called the Newton, and in keeping with its name, it was an apple that fell far from the tree. The Newton lost millions and millions of dollars and received scathing reviews. However, Steve Jobs listened to these complaints and used it to correct these problems, and the iPad came about as a result of that. This brings up another thing I learned. Just because something works poorly doesn't mean that it is a failure. It can be regarded as a learning experience, particularly if you're a good listener. Same goes with music. If you're a good listener, you can do much better with music. Also, it's beneficial to be humble, very patient, and persistent. So now I've spent quite a bit of time discussing other matters, most of which occurred prior to my travels in India, but I have not talked about my relationship with Aravind Eye Hospital. In that view, I feel a bit like Forrest Gump. With our tablet vision testing, I learned a few things. Getting persons properly aligned and at the right distance from the display can be difficult to initiate and to maintain throughout the test. Also, it is difficult for people to keep their head and eye steady throughout the testing, and the size of the tablet display is limited. So just like Steve Jobs, I was able to resolve many of these issues by using a virtual reality headset that has cameras that accurately track the position of the eye. You don't have to worry about head movement with the headset. Also with the headset, we are able to test both eyes at the same time rather than one at a time. The headset not only stores information on an attached smart tablet and provide a printed copy of results, but it also sends the information over the internet, a secure internet site, to store them over a universal system. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there are more developments that will occur in the future. I'm currently working with an exceptionally talented artificial intelligence person to optimize these testing procedures. Currently, we have a comparison study at Aravind Eye Hospital to establish the performance of this device, and we're in the process of using headsets to perform testing at 7 centers throughout India. The study will compare results obtained by the headset with an existing clinical diagnostic test device in more than 1,500 individuals who have normal vision and are healthy, as well as patients with various eye problems. By using low-cost, portable devices, we'll be able to test more people. As I stated earlier, only 2.5 million people are seen at Aravind Eye Hospital in a country that has a population of more than 1 billion. Here are the things that I have learned from my experience with consulting in India. Number 1, it takes a village. It is not possible to do this alone. Number 2, the examiners in India are very efficient and can collect data faster than I can analyze it. Number 3, cooperation and collaboration often have more success than competition. 4, care and treatment should be available to everyone. 5, being grateful, humble, and accessible are powerful combinations. 6, believe in what you do. 7, express creativity. It's okay to think outside the box. 8, long-term planning with patients can be much more successful than short-term solutions. There are some politicians that I wish would adhere to this. Number 9, helping others is more important than making lots of money. There are more things that I have learned, but I will stop there. I hope that some of the things I presented today will be helpful to you and will inspire you to consider doing some volunteer work, whether it be in the church, your community, or for some other good cause. It is one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done. I would be happy to discuss any of this with you later if you are interested. And thank you for listening to what I have to say. Namaste.
Can I have a...
Oh, sorry.
All right, let me find where we are. I think we have a hymn. Except that. Mike, tell us what hymn we're on.
Please stand in body, or in spirit. For hymn number 6, just as long as I have hymn number 6.